Here's a really interesting car at Redish Motorsport, an E46 M3 with the V10 S85 from the M5 M6 in it. So it might have been recognised this occasionally at track, well quite regularly at tracks actually, so a lot of the track day drivers may well recognise it. Fantastic idea that it's got the V10 S85 in an E46 M3. So it's in at Redish Motorsport because it's got a oil pressure problem, and originally what was thought maybe had gone wrong was maybe the oil pressure hose, the Vanos High Pressure hose, which goes up internally through the timing case area, which they can commonly split. It turned out to be a lot worse than that. In actual fact, the Vanos High Pressure Pump, which sits here and is driven by that helical gear off the crankshaft hub, had actually broken up internally. Not catastrophically where it had let go as such, but had broken up significantly, because we've got here the Vanos High Pressure Pump that we've taken off, and there is lots of metal shards that are broken off, whether a bearing's failed or one of the springs maybe has failed in the little the disc. But that is definitely a broken Vanos High Pressure Pump with lots of metal carnage internally, but still amazingly rotates, although you can hear and see the metal breaking around. And what that had done is also the piggyback chain, there's the sprocket there which gets the piggyback chain to go over to the main engine oil pump. That had snapped, so we found that one broken and just hanging, which meant then that the main engine oil pump was still fitted but not obviously pumping oil. That had also put quite a lot of shards through the sump, or dropped into the sump, and there's various bits of metal that we need to go cleaning out inside the oil sump and the pickup pipe. And then here is the main pump here, which we've taken apart to investigate. Now that was found in sump, which looks like the spring clip or circlip for part of the Vanos High Pressure Pipe. That's the main engine oil pump, and we've taken that apart to look, and we're not quite happy because there are interesting markings on some of the like the rotor blades inside there. So a new oil pump is going to be fitted. Obviously this is just trial and error I suppose at the moment, because nobody knows if this engine has suffered any great long lasting effects from the metal pasty swarf that's gone round. But here's a genuine BMW main engine oil pump, which is going to be going on now. Also new sprocket, new nut, and we've got a whole host of other things, chain to fit, all the guides, going as much as we can obviously to try and make this as risk-free as possible, even though nobody knows how it's going to go, but we try our best with obviously the customer's authorization all throughout this. And we're just waiting for the Vanos High Pressure Pipe to arrive, High Pressure Pump to arrive. That's still due to come in, so once that one's here then we can get that one on and we can get the chains linked up and things like that. Whilst we've been waiting, we've taken the Conrod bearings out and changed those as well, because we never knew what sort of damage any metal debris or swarf was going to cause. We think it's a, I think the customer mentioned it was a 44,000 mile engine, I think 2007, so slight wear patches, nothing too crazy, a little bit of copper showing through there and then towards the back as well. So those are going to be, obviously already have been changed. And you can also see little sort of scratchy score lines in these softer materials that are on the top of the coated bearings. These are probably the early ones. If it was an 07 car, it had the 088, 089 bearings, which are more lead and copper based, which you can see by the copper coming through there, and the softer material is picking up some of the metallic debris, I'd imagine, that have gone around the engine very slightly whilst the pump decided to explode. So they look like they've done the job and been sacrificial, although they're not completely dead. Those rotational sort of scratchy score lines have taken the imprint of the little small pieces of debris in the oil rather than the crankshaft journal. The crankshaft journals do look very good, so we're quite pleased with those. Here's the Vanos High Pressure Pipe, the old one, so we're going to change that whilst we're in here out of due course anyway. So we've got new genuine BMW bearings and bolts in there. It was decided after speaking with the customer there was no point putting more expensive upgraded bolts and bearings in there at the moment, because this is going to be effectively a trial run. to see if the engine can sort of survive and carry on going, and maybe that can be visited at a later date, but who knows, that may not even be needed. These bearings may be fine for another 20,000 hard track miles, we just don't know, but we'll see. So that's what it looks like without any pumps on the front. The main engine oil pump sits here, that big unit, and then the Vanos High Pressure Pump sits here, which is helically driven off of the crankshaft front hub, and then the piggyback chain, which goes from the high pressure pump to the main engine pump to drive the engine pump. That's the Vanos High Pressure Pipe, which then has the Vanos fluid oil pressure all the way up. It comes out up in the engine bay just by that hose up there, and then distributes over to both Vanos banks, and also comes down to supply the Vanos pressure accumulator up here. So that's part way through the process. Now we've just changed the engine Conrod bearings and the bolts. I'm just about to fit the engine oil pump and then wait for a few more bits from BMW. Then we can get all the sump cleaned out, new filters, new oil filter housing, plus the sump gasket, pickup pipe O-rings, then get the fresh oil put in, power steering fluid, get the system bled. Once it's up to temperature, probably dump the oil again. We're going to do several oil changes with new filters and fluids every time. And fingers crossed, this well may be a saved S85, we will see.